Hello everyone! I am Rolly Alexandra Ngo Orial and I am a student of the University of the Philippines Open University. I am currently taking up Masters of Development Communication, and for my communication research, I decided to explore the importance of nonverbal communication skills in the relationship of a household help and his employer. In the Philippines, household helps have become an indispensable part of homes ranging from middle class to upper class. A household help is tasked to clean, cook, care for children and pets, look after elderly family members, and performs other essential tasks for their employers. In 2001, the International Labor Office of Geneva reported at least 1.2 million persons aged 15 and above working as household helps. This excludes those who work outside the country. This also excludes household helps below 15 years of age, adults who work as household helps as their secondary occupation, and persons who perform household tasks in the homes of their wealthier relatives in exchange of shelter in the city, education, and daily subsistence. Despite the important role household helps play in the lives of their employers, they are among the most exploited and abused workers in the world. They often work 14 to 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for a salary that is far below the minimum wage. Besides the actual tedious tasks that they are faced with, other household helps are even physically abused by their employers for little mistakes they make, some even without having committed mistakes. Household helps then, who are not physically abused by their employers, are considered lucky. However, there is yet another form of abuse I think household helps should be protected from: emotional abuse. As early as 1970s, a large number of Filipinos, mostly women, migrated to Singapore to work as live-in household helps. This is due to the shortage of labor workers and the rising trend of Singaporean women joining the workforce. Singapore has an Employment Act which protects workers with a minimum wage, a maximum limit of 44 hours of work per week, and limits from salary deductions. However, domestic workers are explicitly excluded under the basis that the nature of their working environment differs from that of a traditional industrial workplace. Thus, Filipino household helps in Singapore are susceptible to exploitation due to their limited rights in the foreign country. Beyond the violation of their right, they are more emotionally vulnerable due to their lack, if not complete absence, of support network. In worst-case scenarios, they even have no witnesses in an event of maltreatment or abuse by their employers. In 1995, the entire Filipino nation was shattered and angered by the execution of a Filipino domestic worker working as a household help in Singapore by the name of Flor Contemplacion. Contemplacion was convicted by the Singaporean court of killing her fellow Filipina maid and the 3-year-old son of her employer. However, there have been claims made that Contemplacion was of doubtful sanity at the times that the crimes were allegedly committed. Though it was never fully determined whether or not she was guilty of the crimes, the tragedy of Flor Contemplacion opened the eyes of the Filipino nation, its government, and of the entire world to the existence of severe maltreatment and emotional abuse of employers to their household helps, especially those that are working outside their own country. Meanwhile, in Dubai, a 17% rise in crimes committed by household helps was noted in 2012. The Dubai police believe that these particular crimes are driven by the cruelty of the employers to their household helps. According to Deputy Director of Dubai's Detectives Department, Colonel Hamal Al-Halaf, household helps could become criminals because of cruel treatment by their employers, adding that some of them might even be pushed to take it out on the children of their employers or mix urine and other dirty materials in the family's meals. These prevalent cases of maid abuse and crimes committed by household helps against their employers led me to ask, what could be the root cause of conflicts between household helps and their employers? Social conflicts, regardless of how minimal or extreme, often involve some kind of misunderstanding. Now, recognizing the role of communication in creating, sustaining, and nurturing social stability, my study will look at the nonverbal communication skills of a household help and an employer to determine whether or not nonverbal communication skills play an important role in the success of a household help and employer relationship. My research aims to answer the main question: how important are nonverbal communication skills in the relationship of a household help and an employer? My research is based on the theory that nonverbal communication is a critical part of human interaction. In their written work entitled Nonverbal Communication in Human Interaction, Mark Knapp and Judith Hall defined nonverbal communication as communication effected by means other than words, assuming that words are the verbal element. First of all, they acknowledge that separating verbal and nonverbal behavior into two separate and distinct categories is virtually impossible. Hand gestures are often considered as behavior that is other than words. However, there are gesticulations that are considered verbal, such as hand movements that serve as the language of the mute and deaf. Since they serve the needs of people with impaired ability to use or comprehend words, these particular set of hand gestures have been given a linguistic function and sets them apart from the rest of hand gestures that are considered nonverbal. Secondly, not all spoken words are clearly and singularly verbal, such as what we call onomatopoeic words like a buzz or a murmur. Thus, generally, nonverbal behavior refers to signal produced or encoded to which meaning will be attributed. According to Knapp and Hall, just like verbal behavior, nonverbal behavior is encoded with varying degrees of control and awareness. An individual may be unaware or only slightly aware of the nonverbal behavior he enacts. Nervous mannerisms, pupil dilation, and mimicking the behavior of an interaction partner are examples of nonverbal behavior an individual is unaware he enacts on social interactions. Knapp and Hall classified nonverbal behavior into three based on the things people study as they process nonverbal behavior in their brain. First, the communication environment. Second, the communicator's physical characteristics. And third, body movement and position. To limit the scope of my study, I am only going to focus on the third category of nonverbal behavior, which is body movement and position, specifically hand gestures. According to Knapp and Hall, there are two types of gestures: speech-independent gestures and speech-related gestures. Now, to further limit the scope of my research, I am only going to tackle speech-related gestures. Speech-related gestures are those that are directly tied to or accompany speech. They often serve to illustrate what is being said verbally. An example of a speech-related gesture is to point to an object. Still in the written work entitled Nonverbal Communication in Human Interaction, Knapp and Hall stated, and I quote, "Nonverbal signals are the most important part of our message. Understanding and effectively using nonverbal behavior is crucial to our success in virtually every social encounter we experience." Now, to gauge the awareness and the ability of a household help and an employer in detecting and interpreting nonverbal cues, specifically hand gestures, I will be making use of two research methodologies. First, questionnaire. Second, interview. There will be two sets of respondents. Set A will consist of household helps, while Set B will consist of employers. In line with this, I have made two sets of questionnaires, both containing the same set of photos showing a person doing a particular nonverbal cue. My respondents are then given four choices of possible message or emotion that the person is trying to say through the use of the particular nonverbal cue. Out of the four, there is only one correct answer based on research I have done prior to the production of my questionnaires. I will select 20 respondents, 10 household helps, and 10 employers. I will meet with each participant in a time that is most convenient to them and ask them to answer the questionnaire in my presence to assure that no research will be done by the participant. I will then collect all questionnaires and analyze the results. Basically, I will be gauging their accuracy in interpreting the nonverbal cues. After tallying their scores on the questionnaire, I will conduct a solo interview per respondent, and my question will be, are you getting along with your household help or employer? After administering the questionnaire, tallying the results, and conducting my short interview, I will then see if there is a correlation between the respondents with low nonverbal communication skills and the set of respondents, household help and employee, who have a problematic interpersonal relationship. Now, upon establishing whether or not there is an existing correlation, as well as how high or how low the correlation is between the participants with low nonverbal communication skills and the set of participants with a problematic household help and employer relationship, I will finally get the answer to my main question: how important are nonverbal communication skills in the relationship of a household help and an employer? Once I establish that nonverbal communication skills are important in the relationship of a household help and an employer, I hope to get funding from the Department of Labor and Employment in order to get a larger sampling and make the finding of my study more accurate. In the future, I hope my study inspires conduction of seminars on nonverbal communication to our domestic workers to equip them with the knowledge that could help them avoid conflicts with their employers. Eventually, this may apply to other domestic workers, even those that are not working as household helps. My ultimate hope for my study is that its findings might be useful in the decrease, if not the total eradication, of cases of maid abuse and crimes committed by household helps against their employers due to bad treatment.